She went to school as usual. She had a very sharp pain.
So that's when my brother decided I'm gonna drive to the hospital.
They put her in the scan and say something really bad happened to her.
Aortic dissection is a life-threatening condition. Techniques such as EVAR and TVAR have continued to progress quite dramatically to treat the aortic dissection in a less invasive way.
It's just been a really awesome experience to see how far I've personally come. My favorite thing about myself is that I love to think. I just love my brain. I love thinking. I love doing. And I think that's a very big part of me, is just remembering that I love fashion.
Yes, she's stylish. I guess she get that from me because I'm also stylish.
I would describe my fashion sense as sort of a duality of things that are like mundane, but also things that are very eccentric.
She's really doing a good work being a fashion girl.
I love that I get to try new things and try new outfits, and I think my parents have inspired me to look my best, even if I don't feel the best. My name is Nina, and I have aortic disease.
Nina's health journey, I can say it's difficult because the moment she was born, she was diagnosed with arthrogryposis, which is like her hands had deformities. So she had to have surgery of the hands when she was 3 years old. She had a PDA, a hole in the heart, and for that also she had a surgery.
I didn't really think of myself as too different when I was younger. It was only until I really, I think, got into preschool that not everyone else had crooked fingers.
And then when she was 5 years old, she started working a little band. Actually, it was spondylolisthesis, which it was her spine, one of the discs of her spine moved, and it was about to pinch the nerve.
And that's when I started to sort of notice that I was different from other kids. I didn't have as much stamina. I didn't feel bad about it. I just sort of knew that I wasn't going to have the same life as my best friends.
So you're gonna pray.
Nina. So they took my saliva, her dad's saliva.
Amen.
And finally, in October 2021, I had a call from Johns Hopkins. They say, we have found what the condition of your daughter is, and it's Loeys-Dietz Syndrome.
Loeys-Dietz Syndrome is in a group of conditions or disorders that we call aortopathies. And aortopathy is just meant to imply that there's something that's not quite right about the aorta. And then there can be a risk for aneurysms to form, which is where the aorta dilates because it's weak, or that you can have an aortic dissection, where the layers of the aorta physically delaminate. And that process is what happened to Janina.
So she went on medication, which was good.
This is why everyone should listen to their doctors. I was taking my medication, but I was like, I'm gonna keep working out, keep doing it. And if I take my medicine, I'll be fine. There's nothing that's gonna happen. But with my condition, you're not supposed to do too many extraneous workouts. So on June 2nd, my brother's birthday, it was the day that I was going to help my brother out.
And she went to school as usual. And then after school, she had a very sharp pain in the back.
So that's when my brother decided, I'm gonna call mom and I'm gonna drive her to the hospital.
They put her in the scan and all, and then they came back very terrified. They said something really bad happened to her. She has an aneurysm of the heart, and we have to helicopter her to Johns Hopkins.
So I started taking photos, I started making videos. I think I even made a TikTok when I was in there because I just thought that this was gonna be a one and done. But then after that, it was blacked out. Don't remember.
There's no question that aortic dissection is a life-threatening condition. Really depends heavily upon where the dissection is located in terms of the gravity of that moment and the implications for what has to happen next. But in the case of Janina, she had a very, very severe aortic dissection in the sense that it involved not just the aorta in the chest, but also the aorta in the abdomen and even a little bit of the vessels going down to the lower legs. One of the key ways we plan aortic operations, particularly aortic dissections, is a fair amount of reliance on imaging, particularly if it shows the dissection involving critical branches that feed our vital organs, then we're going to have to come up with a treatment plan that addresses not just the aorta, but also the complications of the dissection that are picking off some of those other branch vessels of the aorta feeding our vital organs.
So it took 4 months where they were monitoring her every month to see how big was the dilation. In November 2023, they say, we cannot let her live like that. It can tear again anytime and it can be sudden death. Then she was hospitalized and they were going to transplant to put an artificial aorta so that there would not be a tearing again.
And so right after Thanksgiving, they took me in to go have a 12-hour open heart surgery.
EVAR and TVAR, which are acronyms for endovascular repair of the aorta and then thoracic endovascular repair of the aorta. It's mostly done by working through the blood vessels and guiding these devices into place using X-ray and what we call arteriograms. That's intravenous dye that helps highlight the flow of blood in the vessels. And depending upon anatomy, again from the imaging of patients with dissections, we can come up with treatment plans to treat the aortic dissection in a less invasive way. And those types of techniques such as EVAR and TVAR actually have continued to progress quite dramatically over the last 25 years since we really got into the endovascular era around the turn of the century.
The recovery was very, very difficult.
The emotion on me and my family was just the pain that she was going through. It was like we were also having the same pain. For her, not going to school, not seeing her friends.
For 4 months, whatever she ate, she was throwing up. She lost a lot of weight.
I remember in the hospital, they were like, oh, we can't even take your blood because you don't have any fat on you. So when I had the open heart surgery and they could already not take my blood, it was crazy when I lost almost 40 pounds as already a skinny person. It was terrifying, honestly. I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat. So my mom made me get up and she combed my hair and then she made me pick out a nice outfit.
You want to get better, right?
That's also one of the reasons why I got so into fashion, because it's something I could do when I was sick, and that's what my mom inspired me. She said that you're gonna pick a nice outfit and you're gonna continue to live a life.
I think I gave her that advice because of my own journey in life. I've been very resilient being an orphan and seeing that things went well when I had a positive attitude and a strong belief in God.
Support groups, what we call advocacy groups, are really, really robust for patients with Loeys-Dietz syndrome. And they actually work hand in hand with the physician teams around the country, with the science teams around the country. So that's a beautiful model, and it's really working nicely. I think that Jonina in particular and her parents sort of know that recovery is not just physical. There's a mental aspect to it, and some of that takes reassurance from the physician or surgeon, in that case me, or even having a therapist to help them work through some of the scariness of sort of getting back into their life after getting through a big recovery. She does still have her own, what we call native, her own aorta, that exists right above the heart and a short distance right at the base of the neck. So that area is under active surveillance. She's on proper medical therapy. She is super diligent. And so, yeah, she's going to work with us to stay on track, and it's going to be great.
Today, I am doing so many good things that make me so happy, and I would have never thought that I'd be going to college in New York, but now I'm, doing my fashion thing. My motto is to always be funny, and, those things kind of only happen by experiencing such a hard thing. And yeah, I just love life, and I love continuing to explore, continuing to try new things, to go to different countries, to travel. And it's just been a really awesome experience to see how far I've personally come and how that physical thing that happened to me improved me mentally.